I love music that takes you on a journey. Music about a story of some sort. It doesn't have to be a literal story like the Berlioz Symphony Fantastique, which literally tells a story of a lover who is spurned and goes on this kind of opium-laced imaginary tale. But it can tell a story of energy, for example. Alternative energy begins in a junkyard 100 years ago with the sound of old car parts being made into music in the percussion section. And with each movement it goes further into the future, having electronic recordings of a particle collider feature in the present day movement. And by the time it gets to the end of the symphony, it's gone backwards to a kind of future primitive where woody indigenous sounds end the piece. That's a story that very much is about something beyond music, but in the way that I tell it musically, it becomes very much a sonic story as well. So a great deal of my music will tell some kind of a story, and that's something that I miss so much in contemporary music. There really isn't a lot of musical storytelling going on in the 21st century in the way that there was in the 19th century. And I think that the orchestra is a unique musical creature that can explore very, very visceral emotions in one of the few places where we sit down and be quiet for an hour at a time. As a kid, I was writing music in my spare time. By the time I got to be a junior in high school, I was writing music for orchestra in New York. I encountered electronica. I encountered DJs in the Lower East Side spinning very imaginative kinds of contemporary dance music. By the time I was in California, I was maintaining a busy career as a symphonic composer, but also doing a lot of DJing in clubs. And it was not too long until I figured out that those two things really could coexist. When you think about classical music and techno music, you're probably instantly amazed at how those could ever work in the same room. Classical music is acoustic and works in very rarefied spaces. Techno is all about large clubs and electronic sounds pulsating through huge speakers. But there are actually many musical reasons why those two things can happen in the same space. And I think the main reason is that both of those musics involve a very specific kind of listening. You're not listening to music that is driven by lyrics or a vocalist. Both of them are about texture and harmonies and intricate rhythms. And that allows a real kind of melding of the two. Contrary to popular belief, the orchestra is constantly evolving and changing. The most recent developments have been in the percussion section. 19th century and specifically 20th century composers really expanded the percussion section in their search for new sounds. Well, I think the logical continuation of that is into the world of electronic sound, because electronics can bring not only visceral rhythms such as from techno, but electronics can bring in the sound of glaciers calving in Antarctica or a recording of a NASA spacewalk, both of which sounds I've used in pieces. And as a kind of extension of the percussion section, electronics can amplify the traditional role of the percussionists, but also take us to new places.